My name is Kaylyn Reddy. I'm 18 years old. I just graduated from Nathan Hale High School, and the kind of art that I do is I'm primarily a dancer. Sometimes I write, but I'm mostly performing arts kind of girl. I've been doing art for a long time, whether it was just, drawing when I was in middle school or high school, and then when I was around like 14, 13, around that age, I started to do more hip-hop influenced dance, which was interesting because my mother's a dancer and she's always kind of been a dancer, and it was cool to see her blossom in that kind of art world, and so I kind of followed her footsteps a little bit. My mom's mostly a contemporary dancer, contemporary modern, that kind of thing, but when I tried that when I was younger, it didn't really fit with me very well, and so when I was a freshman in high school, I found hip-hop and hip-hop style, all that, and that was kind of where I found my dance home. So I trained at Westlake Dance Center, which is a studio down in Lake City, and it is a drop-in studio, so I started doing drop-in classes when I was 13, around there, and then I kind of decided to keep going there because I liked the environment that it provided for me. And I did do modern dance when I was younger, 7, but I wasn't feeling it the same way that I feel dance now, so. My favorite part about art is watching all the stories that get told. I was recently part of a show by Ahmed called Love Letters, and each piece was a love letter to yourself, to something else, to something you really care about, and it was amazing to see so many people collaborate on one project that was so powerful. It meant a lot to each person individually, and seeing art like that where how personal it is and how intense it can feel as an audience member and as a performer, that's the kind of art that really keeps me going, because it means a lot to the person who made it, and it connects to the audience in a way that I've never experienced with anything else. I was a big part of theater when I was in high school, and I don't want to diss anyone. That's not my goal here, but when I was a freshman, I got into the school musical, and I was told by another student that the only reason I got in was because I was Asian, and that they needed ethnic diversity in the theater group. And I was like, okay, well, that made me feel awful, but it kind of forced me to prove myself in that kind of way. I didn't want to be the ethnic diversity, so I decided that it was better to be the token. And I applied my dance to musical theater, and I got dance captain the next 2 years, and then I kind of felt like it wasn't the right place for me my senior year of high school, so I decided to change paths and go to Westlake Affiliates and join that group. But it was definitely very separating for me, and it made me realize that although this the theater and art groups of Seattle really push themselves to be as liberal as possible, they still have a lot of hidden tokenism and racism going on, especially with the whitewashing of certain shows and the tokenization of certain actors. It's a lot to think about, but it also made me realize Seattle's not the most liberal place in the world. It is pretty liberal, but we still have our own issues within, and it kind of made me more aware of what I wanted to do as an activist and as an artist. Zadie Ong, he is a teacher at Westlake. He is a Seahawks dancer currently, which is so cool, and I'm so glad that he got the chance to do that. But when I joined there was an audition process, and I auditioned my junior year, but I didn't get in, and then my senior year I got in, and it was life-changing. The affiliates taught me how to be a better dancer. The training that I went, Zadie trained me to the point where I feel comfortable with who I am as a dancer, while I am still comfortable improving upon the flaws I see in myself, recognizing my flaws and recognizing my strengths as a dancer as well. And so when I got accepted to the affiliates, I met everybody who was also on the team. All of them are super talented dancers, and the affiliates gave me the chance to work with some of the best choreographers in Seattle. Fee Voba, who is a monster of hip-hop, Sam Ahmed, who I mentioned earlier with his Love Letters Velocity show. And I also got to work with Hannah Wintrode, who choreographed for Macklemore and did a bunch of really cool stuff. And it just kind of opened the door for me into the world of Westlake Dance Center and to the Seattle dance community in general, because I know I'm only a small section. I'm very, very closed off with Westlake, but it's just an environment that I was a part of, kind of, and then when I got onto the affiliates, it kind of pushed me to make my own company connections and my own work connections and dance connections, which then helped me do a bunch of other stuff. I remember being very, very, very young and being a dancer, like I said before, and I was not feeling it because I just didn't see anyone that looked like me except for my mom. And when I was watching TV once, there was So You Think You Can Dance, and that big dancing competition that everybody watches, and I saw a man named Alex Wong. He took the stage and he almost won. He got injured, so he didn't win, but it was life-changing for me because I saw this Asian ballerina killing it, and to see an Asian American make waves like that, it kind of inspires me to do the same. When I was really young, I'm not gonna name the studio, but I was in the studio and I was the only Asian one there, and I was the only brunette there. I was the only one with black hair, and everyone else was very pretty and very blonde and very white. And I was looking around and I was like, I don't see myself here. Like, I don't see myself dancing. I hated that class because I felt like I didn't belong. And then my mother, for the most part, she's also Asian, you know, as that works. And seeing her prosper in her dance and seeing her produce her own shows with Evo Productions and work with Velocity Dance Center and all these beautiful, beautiful things that I went to all her shows. I supported her any way I could, and seeing her as a strong Asian American woman kind of make a name for herself in the Seattle dance community, that was kind of what inspired me, because when I was younger I didn't really have any interest, but when I saw my mom doing what she does, and I just was so inspired to continue that kind of legacy, I guess. Recently, I haven't felt tokenized at all, because there's always been other people of color in pieces with me. There've always been choreographers of color, producers of color that have made me feel just like a person who dances and not the Asian girl or anything else. Like, I love dance. It makes me feel beautiful.